Something is moving on Pluto. Not an earthquake, not a storm, a mountain. A mountain the size of the Swiss Alps, made of solid ice, slowly, silently sliding across the surface of a world 4 billion miles from the nearest human being. And the scientists who discovered it didn't celebrate. They went quiet, because it shouldn't be possible. And if it's happening on Pluto, we don't actually know where else it might be happening. We'll come back to exactly why that is terrifying at the very end of this video, and I promise you will not see it coming. But before we get there, quick question: where in the world are you watching this right now? I'm genuinely curious how far this reaches. People watching from Cairo, Melbourne, Sao Paulo, it blows my mind every time. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. February 18th, 1930, a 24-year-old farm boy from Kansas named Clyde Tombaugh is staring at photographic plates inside an observatory in Arizona. He's comparing two images of the same patch of night sky, taken 6 days apart, and then one tiny dot moves. Everything around it stays perfectly still, fixed stars frozen in place, but that one pinprick of light has shifted. He has just discovered a new world, the 9th planet in our solar system. They named it Pluto. For 76 years, Pluto was a planet. Kids learned it in school, scientists mapped it, studied it, imagined it. Then, in 2006, everything changed. Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet, stripped of its status, pushed to the edge of the solar system, almost forgotten. And at that time, we believed something very simple. Pluto was dead, a frozen, boring rock, nothing interesting, nothing worth a second look. We were completely wrong. The same year Pluto was reclassified, NASA launched a spacecraft called New Horizons. It weighed about as much as a grand piano, traveling at 36,000 miles per hour, heading straight for Pluto. The journey would take 9.5 years. No stops, no second chances, just one shot. For nearly a decade, it traveled in darkness, so far from Earth that even a signal moving at the speed of light would take 4.5 hours just to reach it. Then, on July 14th, 2015, New Horizons arrived. It had only a few hours to capture everything. And when the first images came back, slowly, piece by piece, something appeared that no one expected. A heart. A massive, pale heart stretching across the surface of Pluto. It looked beautiful, almost comforting. But what was inside that heart was something else entirely.
Pluto's surface temperature is around -375 degrees Fahrenheit. So cold that water ice doesn't behave like ice anymore. It behaves like rock, hard, rigid, unbreakable. The mountains on Pluto, some taller than the Rockies, are made entirely of frozen water. But they are not sitting on solid ground, they are sitting on something that moves. That heart-shaped region is called Sputnik Planeta, a vast basin filled with frozen nitrogen and methane, substances that on Earth would be gases, but here are solid. And unlike water ice, nitrogen ice is soft. It flows, slowly, silently, over millions of years. Deep inside Pluto, there is still a small amount of heat left from its formation, just enough to warm the base of this frozen layer, just enough to make it move. The surface begins to churn. Warm material rises, cools, sinks, and rises again, like a pot of slow, frozen liquid. And anything that lands there disappears. Impact craters are erased over time, swallowed by the surface itself. But here's where it becomes truly unsettling. The mountains surrounding this region don't stay in place, they break off. Massive chunks of frozen water, entire mountains detach and begin to drift across the nitrogen ice like icebergs in an ocean. Except there is no ocean, no sound, just darkness, cold, and movement. And those mountains are not white, they are stained red. Dark blood-red snow coats their peaks. These are complex organic molecules formed when sunlight reacts with methane in Pluto's atmosphere. Pluto is not clean and frozen. It is dark, stained, and alive in ways we never expected. And it has an atmosphere, a thin, fragile layer of gas surrounding it. When sunlight passes behind Pluto, it reveals a faint blue glow. Pluto has a sky, a pale, ghostly blue sky. Now remember the moving mountain, because here is the part that changes everything. That massive glacier, Sputnik Planeta, is not just moving mountains, it is moving Pluto itself. The weight of that region is so enormous that, by all known physics, Pluto should have tipped over. It should have rotated and settled into a completely different position.
But it hasn't, which means something beneath the surface is balancing it. Something massive, something dense. The only explanation that fits the data is this: a hidden ocean. A global ocean of liquid water buried beneath miles of ice, kept from freezing by internal heat and immense pressure. At the edge of the solar system, in one of the coldest places we know, there may be liquid water right now. And this is why scientists went quiet, because we have one rule when it comes to life. Wherever there is liquid water, there is life. Everywhere we find it, life follows. In deep oceans, in ice, in extreme environments. So if Pluto has an ocean, what does that mean? It means we've been looking in the wrong place. We searched for life near the sun, in warm, bright environments. But maybe life prefers the dark. Maybe these distant, frozen worlds are not dead at all. Maybe they are full of hidden oceans. We took Pluto's title away, called it insignificant, and moved on. But it was sitting there the entire time, 4 billion miles away, holding a secret beneath its surface. We visited it once, for a few hours, and it changed everything. Imagine what we would find if we went back. If this changed how you see Pluto, share it with someone who still thinks it's just a frozen rock. And if you want to know what's waiting even further out, beyond Pluto, stay curious, because we're only just getting started.